The feds have put out the largest budget document in history and the biggest debt in history. A number of people are saying, well, they're just buying votes for the next election. Jay Goldberg is with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. He joins me right now because I want to put the question to you. You've studied this budget. Really, is it just a giveaway for the next election? Try to buy votes?
Well, it's quite possible. What we're seeing is massive new increases in spending. Economic experts said that we do not need a new stimulus package to get out of this economic circumstance that we're currently in. And the government has instead decided to spend $100 billion on a stimulus package that people like Jack Mintz and others have said is absolutely not necessary.
So when you say spending, a lot of people say, well, if we were spending on subways, if we were spending on, rail lines or other really good infrastructure, that would be okay. But a lot of the spending is really not on solid stuff. It's on poetry or things.
They've dedicated about $20 billion to what they say is a green transition for the economy. There's not a whole lot of specificity there. They've also dedicated about $30 billion for a daycare program to expand daycare spots at the provincial level. But we've already had premiers like Premier Ford here in Ontario and Premier Kenney suggest that they're not on board with this kind of daycare expansion. So that's
they have to spend their own money for that too.
So that's $50 billion right there of new spending that is all very questionable.
And spending for people to be paid by the government.
That's right.
So it's not on, bricks and mortar.
No,
it's
definitely.
It's on just more salaries. I guess that's the way to deal with unemployment, is it? To say, okay, well, if you're unemployed, we'll give you a job.
Well, I guess that's one way to deal with it, but it's not the most efficient way to deal with it.
So, and yet we are pre-election, most people think. We don't know when it's going to be. Why isn't the opposition taking the government to task on this budget? I know you can't talk about politics that much, but it just seems, they are saying, oh, well, we have a few refinements.
Well, I think we're in a difficult situation right now, and I think it might be hard for some political parties to suggest that the government shouldn't currently be spending money, but I think there are very clear alternatives that the opposition could put out, such as broad-based tax cuts or different measures, such as increasing healthcare transfers to the provinces, instead of these tens of billions of dollars in spending that has absolutely nothing to do with the pandemic.
And so it's spending, but is it your position and the Federation's position that not only is it a waste of government, but it's not going to really create long-term jobs?
No, it's not going to create long-term jobs. The Liberals are trying to say that it is, but that's not the case.
Well, you're not running for office, so I believe you. Jay Goldberg, thanks very much. 3 minutes and no jobs. Our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, recently stood up in the House of Commons and prefaced his remarks by saying, and we will only work from the facts, quote, unquote, and then proceeded to lie by saying Britain was in a horrible, horrible third wave, trying to show, in fact, that Canada was not the worst in the world. Britain, though, had vaccines. Canada did not. And this was not reported in the mainstream Canadian media, the media paid for by Justin Trudeau. All of which, I'm telling you, is that it's important to have this 3-minute interview. Please subscribe, ask your friends to subscribe, and press that PayPal thing so we can continue on to bring you the news you otherwise might not know.